My name is Ms. Blessing. I'll be taking you on Biology SS1 this afternoon. Last week we talked about different zones of marine habitat. We are still in aquatic habitats. We talked about different zones of marine habitats, and we also talked about the different plants and animal species and the adaptive features that live in a marine habitat. We are still on the marine habitats. Okay, today we're talking about different food and waterborne diseases, their causes, the disease, their causative organism, the mode of transmission, the host, and the major symptoms of these diseases. So the first one we have here, the first disease is infective disease. And the causative organ is virus hepatitis. You've heard of the word hepatitis before. We have hepatitis A, B, and C. And the mode of transmission is transmitted through water. And the host, it is always occurs in man, both male and female of any age. Okay? And the major symptom, the symptom of hepatitis is swollen liver. It's majorly liver problem. Swollen liver, fever, headache, and jaundice. So these are major problems caused by this virus hepatitis. The next disease is the typhoid fever, the one I know most of you are used to the word typhoid fever. This one, the causative agent is bacteria. The Salmonella typhi is the cause of what? The typhoid, the Salmonella typhi. And the mode of transmission is by food and water, through food and water. And the host is man, both male and female of any age. So this major symptom is high temperature with diarrhea or constipation. So those are the symptoms. The next one is food poisoning. Is a disease. Food poisoning. The causative agent, or opposite that causes it, is called the bacteria, which is the Salmonella, also the Salmonella species. And the mode of transmission is through infected water. Infected food, not water, infected food. Infected food with food poisoning. Then the host is man, whether male or female of any age. Then the symptoms are headache, restlessness. When someone eats a food that is poison, you have headache, restlessness, abdominal pain, and vomiting also. So those are the symptoms. The next one is the cholera. Cholera is caused by a bacterium called Vibrio cholerae. And the mode of transmission is through drinking water. When the water is infected, if it's not clean, it causes cholera. The mode of the host is man. It occurs with both man and man. You know, man is being generalized for living organisms. Both men, it means both male and female of any age. Then the mode of transmission is, the major symptom is serious diarrhea, vomiting. You go to toilet often with vomiting, high temperature, and abdominal pain. These are the symptoms of cholera. The next one is the poliomyelitis. Poliomyelitis is caused by a virus. It's caused by a virus, and it's transmitted through water. You get polio from water, and occurs mostly in children. You know, recently Nigeria have been declared free from polio. Recently, so it is caused. Thank God for that. It's caused by what? It always occurs in what? In children. And the mode of transmission is high fever. Their major symptoms, it's high fever, headache, stiffness of limbs, you know, the limbs, both the four limbs and the leg and the hand. The stiffness of limbs due to nervous disorder that results from attack on muscle nerves. So the polio always attacks the nerves, you know, both and the limbs as well. So that's for that. So the next one is amoebic dysentery. Amoebic dysentery is a disease which is caused by a protozoa called the Entamoeba histolytica. And it is being transmitted from food and water. And the host is man, both male and female, you know. And the major symptom is abdominal pain, heavy vomiting, and diarrhea. and so many more. We have so many of them. When you go to your textbook, either you go to your essential biology or modern biology, any textbook that is recommended, just go there and you see so many diseases. They are causative organs, organisms, the mode of transmission, the host, and all of you see all of them there. Both waterborne disease, foodborne, airborne diseases. There are so many. Just get to know them in your own leisure. So that will take us to the control of harmful microorganisms. The control of harmful microorganisms. How do we control these organisms that are around our environment? We cannot see them. How do we now prevent them? What we cannot see? We have different ways of controlling them or eradicating them or preventing them from our environment. The first way of controlling them is through high temperature. High temperature. So organisms cannot, most organisms, almost all, cannot survive in a high temperature region. They cannot survive it. They die. That is why heat is mostly applied. You know, this involves sterilization. And you must have heard the word sterilization. When something is sterile, it means it is free, as in you apply heat so that object or that thing to make it clean, to make it pure, free of germs. That's called sterilization. So high temperature involves for sterilization by boiling. We have different means of sterilization. We have by boiling, by autoclaves. There's a machine called the autoclave. You go and browse it, you see the different kinds of autoclaves. You put autoclave just like a box where you put in they store most biological or most scientific work inside the autoclave. It helps to sterilize the environment of whatever you are working on. Okay, as I said, sterilization is by boiling, is by autoclaving or heating of food and other products to kill disease-causing microorganisms as they are killed or destroyed at a very high temperature. You know, high temperature helps to kill organisms faster. It helps to kill organisms faster. It involves sterilization. Every year will be sterile through heating of food. That is why it's advised you warm your food very well, you heat it very well in case of any microorganism. Even your beef, your meats, both beef or any kind, bacon or chicken or whatever, you know, it's advisable you cook them very well because of those microorganisms, you know. And make sure your environment is clean enough, and before you put anything in your mouth, make sure that thing is free of what? Of germs. Okay? So the next way of controlling microorganisms is use of drugs or antibiotics. You use drugs, or you call them the antibiotics, antibacterial, antibiotics. So there are some drugs that have been produced now that are drugs that help to fight against these organisms, these microorganisms, these diseases that causes pathogenic cause, that causes all forms of disease. So many diseases can be controlled through taking of drugs. Many diseases, the production of drugs has helped so many diseases to be controlled. Even the cancer and so many deadly diseases. Drugs has helped a lot, you know, even antibiotics, so many infections. Drugs have helped to reduce their effects. Okay, in order to kill microorganisms, like for instance, now you have a chloroquine. Chloroquine is, in those days, chloroquine is, though it has been banned anyways, it used to it was taken to kill malaria fever, which is caused by the parasite, the Plasmodium parasites. You know, when you're taking chloroquine, it goes to your bloodstream and kills the Plasmodium parasites. So then you now become well or fine from what? From malaria. So many drugs out there, so many that helps to fight so many diseases. So that also is a part, or is an agent that helps to control harmful microorganisms. The third one is preserving food by salting. Salting of food. When you preserve food by salting, you know, the application of salt on food helps to kill microorganisms and render them inactive, thereby preserving the food. Salt is one of the very important way of preserving microorganisms. No, salt is sodium chloride. Salt contains sodium chloride, and and it's very, very active, it's very high. the actually working on the drugs in which, or the vaccine, in order to help fight against what the corona, though it hasn't been found yet. Hopefully it will be soon. So this vaccination or this immunization helps to what? To control microorganisms. Immunization is a process in which a healthy person is inoculated with what? A preparation of a mild form of what? A pathogen. It is inoculated into your bloodstream. And if you see them, those people that carry different buses, they tell you to open your mouth. Sometimes they put it as syringe to your body. Though you are not, they don't give it to sick people, you are very fine, but they are just trying to help you prevent what? Those diseases. So those diseases won't come close to you. This preparation is called vaccine. That thing they put in that small bottle, you see those substances, called what? A vaccine, to fight against what disease. Vaccination is given to protect against deadly disease, especially those caused by a virus such as measles, tuberculosis, cholera, tetanus, and all of them, even the polio. You see them going around, yellow fever vaccine, and all of that, so that you won't be able to contaminate them easily. Yes, you now have antigens that fight against those diseases. The next one is sterilization by boiling. Sterilization by boiling is another means of what? Of controlling microorganisms. Sterilization by boiling is done by what? Is done to kill diseases causing microorganisms on an object. Before you use any instrument, even in the hospital, you go to the lab, even when you want to undergo any operation, they make sure those equipment they use, they are well sterilized, so it cannot be contaminated, so it will not infect the patient with another form of disease. So they make sure the environment is sterilized by boiling. You boil your food, whenever you want to cook, you make sure it's well cooked, it's boiled under low heat, so as to what? To prevent those, to control the microorganisms, to kill, heat kills microorganisms, to kill them. Okay? The other one is the use of antiseptic. The use of what? Antiseptic. They are chemicals. When you hear of antiseptic, they are chemicals that can kill microbials, that can kill microbes or microorganisms. They can kill the growth of what? They kill or inhibit the growth of what? Of pathogenic microorganisms. Those are antiseptic. You see those when you call your Dettol is an antiseptic. The one you call your Hypo is an antiseptic. Those are antiseptics that help to what? To inhibit the growth or to kill the pathogenic microorganism. Antiseptic are used on cuts, So most times when you injure yourself, you see them bringing iodine, or Dettol just to rub the surface. So microorganisms cannot come into your body through that process. Microorganisms come into the body, as I taught you last week, through the body, through wounds. So when someone injures or gets himself involved in a motor accident or what have you, those persons, they are administered antiseptic. They just put it on the surface to dress the wound, so microorganisms will not come inwards. Okay. Also, they put it on cuts, abrasive, and wounds on the skin to prevent infection by microorganisms. Okay. We have the example of antiseptic, Dettol, Hypo. We have tincture of iodine. We have the chloroquine. We have hydrogen peroxide, and so many of them. So those are antiseptics that help to control microorganisms. The next one is covering of food always. Covering of food always. This is what we hear even in our social media, television, and all kinds of informative medium. Covering of food is one of the most important, to fight against microorganisms. It is always advised to keep the environment neat. Cover your food. Cover your food. Do not leave it open. So microorganisms will not come inside. The agents will not come. The agents carrying the microorganisms will not come and perch on your food. For instance, flies, the tsetse flies. You have even the mosquito, even rats. You heard of the disease called what's it called again? This disease caused by rats. Rat comes in and drop the deposit and urinates it can urinate in the food. Before you know, it can cause Lassa fever. Now I get it. The Lassa fever virus. It's caused by rats. they are always advised to cover your food to avoid those microorganisms from coming in. So the next one is quarantine service. Quarantine, as we are undergoing now. Quarantine service or isolation of what infected person or animal should be done. You know, like for instance now, this period of quarantine, what is quarantine? Quarantine means to isolate an infected person, you know, from what? From a certain virus, from a certain microorganism. To isolation. So it's always important when someone is sick of a virus or someone is diagnosed of a virus, you know, it's better the person is kept on a separate place so the person will not infect other persons. And the way they are doing it now in the coronavirus cases, they are kept in their different isolation centers so they won't spread the disease easily, you know. So this is a part of controlling microorganisms. This is to observe such person and animal for evidence of a disease before he or she mixes with all the general population. So when we say quarantine, it means you are isolating yourself from other persons so you will not be infected of any kind of what? Microorganisms. So the next one is what? Promoting health education. Promoting health education is one of the major means of what? Of controlling microorganisms. It's to make people to be aware, both social media, on here and everywhere, to make people to be aware of what? Of their health, how to what? Take care of their health, take care of themselves, to be conscious of the way microorganisms are transmitted. Like the coronavirus now, you can see them, the health education is being taught, even in televisions and all mediums, you know, so as to prevent and to control the coronavirus, even other diseases as well. So promotion of what? Health education is very, very important. It's important to teach your children, to teach your community, or to learn from the media how to live a healthy lifestyle. Okay, the next one is destruction of vectors of diseases, such as the mosquito. If you know your houses or your community, in your street, you see some potholes, you see some gutters that are so dirty. So these are means of what? Of transmitting disease. These are they are storehouse where those vectors they breed. You know, they breed in those places and they infect people. They enter people's houses. So make sure your house is clean enough, your environment is clean, so those vectors will not have places to breed on. You know, so it's good to destroy those vectors. Like such as mosquito, black fly, they should be destroyed to prevent the spread of disease caused by what? Caused by them. But most times you use insecticides to spray your environment. They spray the environment with fungicide just to reduce what? To reduce the microorganism from sticking or piercing into any healthy person to deposit any form of disease. Okay, the next one is the use of disinfectants. The use of disinfectants is another way of what? Controlling microorganisms. You use disinfectants. Disinfectant like Hazard, you know Hazard and that small container you pour in your toilet. So those are good ways of controlling microorganisms. Hazard, you need sanitary like sanitars, carbonic acid, and so many of them. Hypo, what have you? Dettol, they are the kind of antiseptic. This one is a disinfectant. They are all disinfectant, both antiseptic or disinfectant. They are all disinfectants. It's good to always use them in your toilets, in your bathroom, you know, in your environment. Just quality, just to hygiene. You know, personal hygiene is such as washing of your clothes, washing of your hands, you know, keeping your environment clean, using disinfectants, do not defecate anyhow. You know, all those personal hygiene, those cleanliness in your environment is what personal hygiene is one of the best way of controlling microorganisms. So we'll talk about more on it next week. Next week we'll talk about plants and animals. Talk about plants and animals that can transmit those microorganisms. We'll also talk about so many other things under this microorganism. There is a lot to talk about. See you next week. Have a good day. In your leisure, go to your textbook, read more on it, answer past questions, write past questions and answer, so you can know how you are improving on it. See you next week.